To hell with everybody else. Put them all on the back burner. I'll be back when I'm rich. And off I went, running like a mad dog. 7 days a week, night after night, coming home at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Every day. Every time I had something that was about to explode, the guilt killed it. I'm gonna find a way to get rid of this guilt. And I figured it out. I truly figured it out. I used to hear a lot of people say how important is balance in your life. And that used to bother me because what I felt was you can't always think about balancing your life when you're chasing your dream. When you have something that you're living for, that you're so passionate that you want to get done. How can you think about balancing everything? Because I kept thinking, if I focus on balance, then I'm losing the power that I need to chase my dream. But I discovered something that really, I personally felt that it was one of the biggest things that affected my life. And that was this. A number of years ago, there was a dream that I was chasing. And my dream was actually I was building a business to be retired at the age of 27, to be worth $1 million. And I was chasing this dream, building this business every day, 7 days a week. I was out there running. And the goal was by the age of 27, I want to have $1 million income and be free. That's what I was chasing. And I was willing to give everything up. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I was giving it everything I got. And then all of a sudden, something was happening inside of me. And I was feeling so much guilt. And this guilt was like, hey, buddy, you're running and chasing this dream that you have. But what about your family? What about your health? What about your spiritual life? What, are you going to destroy everything for this dream? And the crazy thing was, this guilt was so powerful inside of me because I kept thinking, hey, buddy, you better go back and make sure you look after them, because when you obtain this goal that you're shooting to achieve, they may not be there. So that guilt, it just put on the brakes. And I turned around and then I thought, okay, you know what? I need to clean this up. I need to spend time with my kids and my wife and my parents. I need to look after my health. I need to focus on my spiritual life. And I did that for a little while. But then all of a sudden, there was more guilt. And the guilt this time was, hey, buddy, I thought you had a dream. What happened to your dream of being free at 27, being worth $1 million? And all of a sudden it was like, okay guys, I gotta go. I gotta chase my dream. And off the pendulum went to the other side. And off I went, running like a mad dog, 7 days a week, night after night, coming home at like 3 o'clock in the morning, every day. Only to find out 3 or 4 months later, the guilt came back. I was just going back and forth, back and forth. I couldn't build any momentum. Every time I had something that was about to explode, the guilt killed it. And that's when I realized this is gonna be the reason I fail here. If I don't fix this, I've gotta solve this puzzle. And I hated the word balance because I believe that if you wanna do something great in your life, you don't always have to be balanced, but the people in your life need to know and need to support, especially the ones that are close to you. They need to give you power to chase your dream. I knew if my wife knew why I was chasing this dream, if my kids knew, if my parents knew, and they said, yeah, go ahead, go do it, I'd have more power to just go instead of saying, you know what, to hell with everybody else. Put them all on the back burner. I'll be back when I'm rich. Then I'll come and get you. I thought, I don't want to do it like that. I don't want to create something great in my life just to find out that I destroyed everything else that was just as valuable. And I figured it out. I truly figured it out by a lot of pendulum swings back and forth, because there are so many people that have a dream in their heart, but they don't realize, just like I didn't realize, that in our heart, where our dream is sitting around something. And that thing that's around our dream is either peace that empowers it or guilt that paralyzes us. And for me, I had no peace. I just had guilt and the dream inside. And I realized I'm going to find a way to get rid of this guilt and replace it with peace that empowers me to keep chasing this dream that I have. So here's how I figured it out. The first thing I thought was, okay, what's the most important thing in my life? And instantly I had an answer. My family. My family is the most important thing in my life. And I'm asking myself these questions. What about your family? My responsibility is to love, to care, and provide for my family. That's why family is the most important. And then I heard this little voice in my head. Oh, so you want to provide and care and love your family. When I heard that right there, I don't know where this came from, but I heard another little little voice in my head that said, so where are you going to get all this love to be able to love your family? And as soon as I heard that, right away, I realized my family is not the most important thing in my life. Now that may sound weird to you, but to me, I couldn't believe it that I was actually saying this. My family was not the most important thing in my life. My number one most important thing in my life was actually my relationship with God. Because that was actually the source of where I was going to get the love to be able to love my family, especially when I love them and they don't love me back. The number one most important thing in my life was my relationship with God. And here's what I mean by that. The day that I die, most likely is going to be a shock to me and a shock to everybody around me. It's going to be totally unexpected. And then at that point, I can't do nothing about it. But if I ever find out, if a doctor tells me, hey buddy, you got 3 months to live, at that point in my life, what am I going to be thinking? Because now I've been given time. You got 3 months to live, sort out your life. How am I going to feel? Am I going to feel empowered? Am I going to have peace? Or am I going to have a tremendous amount of guilt? I don't want to regret this because I've seen old people die when they were very old. And I've seen young people die when they were very young. I've seen guys in their 20s die, in their 30s die, in their 40s die. Nothing's guaranteed to us. So I started thinking to myself, Terry, tomorrow could be your last day. Next week could be your last day. Are you actually ready for that? If you found out you got 3 months to live, are you going to start changing all sorts of things in your life? And that's when I realized my number one priority has to be my relationship with God, to the point where if I find out tomorrow is my last day, I got no problem. I'm ready. God can take me anytime, and I can be truthful right now and tell you, it doesn't bother me at all. If next week was my last week, if I had 3 months to live, if I have 6 months to live, if today is my last day, that's life. I'm ready. I have no regrets. I don't need to change anything in my life because I personally feel I have that relationship with God that I wanted all that time, and that I'm okay. I'm ready. That alone gives me the peace and the power to chase my dream, because I know this is my number one priority. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do, whether it's for 2 minutes or 20 minutes, is I pray and read my scripture. That's it. I want to make sure that connection, that relationship is there, so I have no regrets. When I've done my prayer for 2 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it is, I'm ready. I can move on to the second most important thing in my life. The second most important thing in my life was my family. So what about my family? For me to take responsibility, to be there for my family, to care for them, to provide, and to love them. And so in my head, I realized, how can I do that? Well, what I did was simply ask them. I would ask my wife. I'll send an email to my wife and I'll say, is there anything I can do for you? Now she'll tell me what she needs. And when she does, I just take that information and I'd put it into my schedule so that I make sure I make it happen. Then I go to my kids. And at the time, my kids were young. And I would say to my kids, is there anything I can do for you? And they would sort of look at me like, what? Dad's asking if there's anything he can do for us? He says, yeah, I'm asking my kids, is there anything I can do for you? And I would text them. And I still do it today, years after when I thought of this. Is there anything that I can do for you? And I've met fathers who have said to me, that's not right. You shouldn't, as a father, ask your kids, is there anything I can do for you? They should be asking you. Well, my attitude is this. Somebody's got to set the example. Somebody's got to teach them what's right. I don't care if my kids ever ask me if there's anything I can do for you, Dad. I want to ask them, is there anything I can do for you? Why? Because I love them. Because that's what makes me feel good, to be there for them. So that was my second thing. And how long does that take? A text? Hey, son, is there anything I can do for you? Hey, wife, is there anything I can do for you? It's as simple as that. Just send a little text. What's so complicated? How long did that take me? 30 seconds? A minute at the beginning of my day? Then I know I have peace of mind that my needs, the needs of my family are taken care of. I at least ask them. I don't have to figure it out. I'm asking them, is there anything I can do for you? And they're telling me. That was second. The third most important thing in my life was my health. Most of our dreams are not going to happen in 6 months, in a year. Some of our dreams are going to take a long time. Years. They could take 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years to accomplish. Well, if that's the case, if it's going to take so long, if we don't look after our health along the way to achieving our dream, by the time we accomplish it, are we really going to enjoy it? Are we really going to be able to take advantage of what we've accomplished? So how did I do it? Every day when I woke up and I did number 1 and number 2, the third thing was, am I doing my exercises, and I'd pull out my schedule and I made sure I knew exactly which day and what time I was going to exercise to look after my physical health. As long as you know it's written in your planner, now you've got a sense of peace that it's taken care of. Number one, my relationship with God. Number two, my relationship with my family. Number three, my health. They're all taken care of. I got nothing else to do. I don't have to worry about nothing. Now I've got the peace that will empower me to chase my dream with everything I got. And now I can create the momentum because I don't have to look back and think, am I doing something wrong? Am I destroying my family, my health, my relationship with God? No, everything is looked after. I can now give it everything I got. So now I thought, I figured it out. I got it, man. I got my dream in my heart and I got the peace to empower me. And off I went. And years later, I'm going to be honest with you. When I was 27 years of age, no, I didn't make $1 million. But boy, did I discover one of the greatest things in my life that was more valuable than making that $1 million. And that was, it wasn't money that I wanted. It was the lifestyle. It was the peace of mind that I was after. It was not dollars. It was not the beautiful cars or the beautiful mansions. It was the way that I was feeling inside, the freedom. That's what I was after. I wanted to have freedom. If you ask most people, why you want to make all this money? They'll say to you, because I want to be financially free. And if you ask them, well, what does it mean to be financially free? They'll say, when you got all the money in the world and you got the time. When you got money and time, then you're financially free, man. I says, that's great. But I figured out something better. There's something better than financial freedom, and that is true freedom. So what is true freedom? True freedom is when you have the money that you need, the time that you need, and you've got the reputation that you need. Because if you have money and time, but you don't have the reputation, you're not going to be welcome everywhere. You're not going to be free to go wherever you want to go because you don't have the relationships. You don't have the freedom. Fine, you got all the money in the world. You got all the time in the world. But if everybody thinks you're a jerk, guess what? You got no freedom. You can't go anywhere. Even though you got money and time, you're going to be on your own. That's when I realized what I was chasing all my life was not financial freedom. It was true freedom. Money, time, and reputation. To be the person inside that other people think you are on the outside. That's what gives you peace, to empower you to chase any dream. That was the greatest thing that I got from chasing a dream. I'm trying to make $1 million and realizing that actually wasn't my dream.